Today I wanted to talk about people pleasing, but from the perspective of the people pleaser. I think there are a ton of self-help resources out there that definitely encourage creating boundaries, enforcing boundaries with people within relationships. But listen, I myself have a PhD in people pleasing from, I really don't want to, but I guess I will, university. And I feel like people who are good at having boundaries, they don't understand how hard it is for a people pleaser to say the word no. And I kind of want to dive into that from my own personal experience. And hopefully, if you are a people pleaser, this can give you some insight into why you tick the way you do. And if you are a person who is so good at maintaining your boundaries and you scoff at the people pleasers of the world, I'm hoping this sheds some light on why we are the way we are and how you can help us, okay? That's what we need. Hello, my handsome fellows and my beautiful ladies and everything in between and outside of that. My name is Sama and welcome to Mediocre Guidance. I feel like with every passing video, my hair just gets more chaotic and I'm just embracing the crazy cat lady trope because I give up, okay? It's too difficult for me to look good. I'm not born with it. It's not Maybelline. My hair, this is what I deal with every day of my life, okay? This is what I look like, just so you know.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
People pleasers have a very intense, deep-seated guilt associated with the word no. Why is that? Because at some point in their lifetime, usually when they're young and developing and they really, really need the approval and support of their elders or whoever's in authority in order to survive, they said no at some point during that time, and then they were punished for it. Emotionally, usually. They were either meant to feel very guilty for saying no, or they were faced with anger, disappointment, or the worst of all, pushback. The question which is so irritating to me, which is, why not? Why do you not want to do this? Because it just feels like, as a people pleaser, saying I don't want to is not enough of a reason. There has to be some further justification, otherwise you're a bad person who's selfish and doesn't care about others. I remember I spent a weekend with a friend visiting her at her university dorm, and there was another event going on, and it was like a conference of sorts, and I had asked her to join me, and she said no, being from a background where no needs to have like a very solid justification for it to be valid. I was like, oh, but why? And she said, well, I don't want to. And I was like, damn, I didn't know that was an option. For me personally, I grew up in the South Asian culture where I don't know why, but saying the word no to your parents is incredibly disrespectful. And so I learned that the word no means that I hate my elders, I don't respect the sacrifices they made for me to be where I am today. And so I really, really struggle to say no because no one has ever been okay with it. Enough people have made us feel bad that we have just learned that if we want any semblance of peace at night when we go to sleep, we need to say yes to everyone and everything. And so, as a result of our inability to say no, we go overboard with helping others because we really feel like if we want others to like us, we have no choice. And then it becomes a vicious cycle because the more we say yes, the more people lean on us and rely on us to come through, and it further entrenches our need to never say no, because all of a sudden people are shocked and appalled if we ever do put our foot down. And on the flip side, when you're so used to saying yes to people, you kind of expect a modicum of that in return, right? Like, I feel, I've put in enough good karma, maybe doing things I don't want to do, knowing that it will help someone else. And so when I need something or I need a favor and no one pulls through for me, I'm like shook. I'm like so sad and heartbroken that no one would ever extend that same courtesy to me, which is really, it is a me problem because no one owes anyone anything in this world. which is something that all of us have to wrap our heads around and embrace. It doesn't matter if it's a parent-child relationship, two partners coming together, best friends, whatever. We form relationships out of choice, and it should always be that way. I know, obviously, like, family dynamics that are rocky are not by choice. Like, no one asked to be part of a crappy family situation. And that should also be taken into consideration that, no contracts were signed, right? When you get into a relationship, of course, excluding prenups and all that. But when you form a relationship with someone, they are there because they want to be there. No one is putting a gun to their head and telling them to be there for you, right? And so we need to appreciate that in all our relationships. My dad, my whole life, loves to dangle this guilt pod in front of me that we came to this country for you. We sacrificed everything for you. Sorry to break it to you, Dad. This wasn't stipulated to me when I came into this planet, which was, once again, not by my choice. I really, really love my parents, and I'm so grateful for everything they've done to set me up for success in my life. But when I say owe them, I mean that I am grateful for what they've done, but do I have any sort of paperwork outlining what I owe them? The love and respect that I show towards my parents is because they have earned it through showing me love and respect. But yes, anytime I've said no to my father, he gets very upset with me, and he thinks that I'm the worst child on the planet. And so I have very much grown up as a people pleaser, and it is only now that I'm unraveling those cords that keep me locked into this yes prison that I can never seem to get out of. I have a coping mechanism, and that is that I pray to fall sick to get out of an obligation, which is horrible. Why am I putting my physical health on the line? Why am I trying to manifest bad outcomes for my health? That's how bad I feel about saying no, and because anytime I just don't want to do it, I don't know how to express that in a way that doesn't sound like I'm being a see you next Tuesday. That is how powerful the tug of war is within a people pleaser between saying yes and saying no. So what can you do to support the people pleasers in your life? Firstly, if someone says no, please don't take it personally. This is something that a people pleaser will also do because they're so used to saying yes. They're like, why the hell would you say no to me? As I mentioned earlier. So if someone says no to you, just realize that, they have their reasons. And worst case scenario, they just don't want to do it at all. And that's okay, right? It has nothing to do with you. It's not a slight on, your ability to be good company or your ability to do your own work on your own. If someone says no to you, it really has nothing to do with you. I know we tend to internalize people's rejections into, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with me. I said or did something to turn this person off. Honestly, rejection is really never has anything to do with you. It's always about them, right? And where they're at in their life, in the grand scheme of things, and, their own preferences at that time. The more we can detach ourselves from people's opinions and preferences and their decisions, whether they want to spend time with you or not, that's a them problem and not a you problem, and it should always be like that. And you will see having this attitude will benefit you tremendously, and it will really foster this sense of trust in all your relationships, because all of a sudden people feel like they are safe to say no to you. Which brings me to my second point. Please make it safe for people to say no around you. There should be no Judge Judy trial as to why a person is saying no to you. There's that saying no is a complete sentence. Yeah, but there's some ramifications to saying no as a complete sentence when people make you feel bad for it. So don't make others feel bad. This is kind of a hot take, but I think that when we get offended when someone says no, it's 100% us projecting our own feelings around rejection. So let's not do that, right? We are whole and complete beings on our own, right? We do not need our other halves. We do not need anyone to fill the void for us. We are very much capable of doing that ourselves, and relationships should always be a fun and happy choice. And another thing, if you have someone in your life who always says yes to making plans with you, or like if you're seeking help, and so you really start to rely on them and reach out to them, please keep in mind that we as humans have good days and bad days, and that maybe sometimes we're not in the mood to help. And so if you see like this consistent, yes, I'll help you, yes, I'll help you, just day after day, or, you know, like, yes, let's do it, yes, let's do it, and you notice that that other person in your life is possibly overwhelmed, or you don't hear about them talking about pursuing their own hobbies and interests and like handling their own workload successfully, and if you're not hearing that or like having that conversation with them, realize that there may be some people pleasing going on their end, and show that you appreciate them and that you're not looking to take advantage of them, because this happens a lot. We, by nature of saying yes all the time, attract people who then constantly demand our attention, and like because they start to take it for granted, they don't realize the toll it's taking on us to constantly acquiesce to their requests. Here's a good gauge of if someone is saying yes to you because they genuinely like you and want to help you or whatever, or if they're doing it because they feel like they have no other choice and they feel cornered. If it's through messaging and they say, sure, okay, I guess, which is a really big and obvious one, or yep, YUP, yep. Maybe pause and be like, wow, they really don't sound as enthusiastic as maybe they should. And if it's over the phone, or, you know, just like in person, keep in mind their tone of voice, right? A person who wants to genuinely help will be super enthusiastic about it. And just because a person was enthusiastically saying yes to you last week doesn't mean that they feel the exact same way this week. So let's take that into consideration. Lastly, doesn't matter which end of the people-pleasing spectrum you sit on, please treat people with kindness and express gratitude, and don't take advantage of other people's kindness. I have a friend who is like such a sweetheart, and he used to have a pickup truck, and everyone would ask him to help them move with his pickup truck. And because he had like a servant's heart, he was very selfless and generous, he would say yes all the time. And because the two of us are very close, he would confide in me like how exhausted he was of helping people move all the time. It got to the point where he switched out his truck for a smaller car for like other reasons, but he was so relieved that he didn't have this pressure of being asked to help people move. This is a man who otherwise is very good at setting boundaries and saying no. So it's very easy for us, unwittingly even, to take advantage of other people's kindness and generosity. I just think it's very helpful to be empathetic and put yourself into that other person's shoes. If someone is very selfless and generous and helpful by nature, if they're helping you, they're probably also helping others. And then when you have a request, it requires energy. And to be kind to people who are willing to give you their time and energy to be with you and help you out. I really hope this message doesn't come across as like shaming you for like needing help or being an extrovert and or like wanting to be in other people's company. We need social interaction. It's an incredibly I like to think of it as the fertilizer to our lives and, you know, nurturing joy. We should seek balance, like I say in every freaking video. So let's be considerate of others and be considerate of what we need as well, and learn how to communicate that and learn to take care of ourselves so that we're not relying on others too much, right? And so when you do come together with others, it becomes this like very chill and fun and joyful experience, because that's how it should be. I'm very passionate about defending people pleasers because I personally face burnout very often because of my inability to say no. And of course, I take full responsibility for not saying no more. The more we as just a collective can be supportive of that word, and also just, you know, be invested in other people's happiness and like making sure people feel valued and heard for their own pursuits. You know, like if you have a friend who's constantly helping you, maybe go to them when you have absolutely no requests at all and just ask them how their day is going. Ask them how their life is. Are they pursuing any hobbies for the time being, you know? And if you feel like you are leaning on someone a little too much, take the time to build yourself up, right? You are very capable of basically everything, anything you want. I say this a lot. We are all the Son of God. We are all incredibly powerful manifestors. We are all very, very capable of accomplishing things beyond our wildest dreams with the help of God. Let's keep that in mind. And the more you build up your belief in yourself, the more you can stop relying on others and then just kind of invite them to help you out because you want to. Anytime you are faced with a question on whether you want to do something, it should be a very enthusiastic yes. If you are feeling like meh about it or no, then say no and then give yourself the time to get to a place where you can become enthusiastic about life again. All right, well, I'm going to take my ridiculous crazy hair and head out to have dinner because I'm so hungry. Thank you for watching. You guys are awesome. I always just like believe in you. It hurts me to see people who like don't love themselves and don't believe in themselves. I'm like, you don't even know how great you are, okay? So that is my only job on here, is to help you realize how wonderful you are and how wonderful you can be to others and for others. Thank you very much for watching this week's episode of Mediocre Guidance, and I'll see you guys next time. Ta-ta!